Those stories plus so Viking come from behind wind. Eyewitness News is coming up next.
Create a warm, beautiful hearth with a Heat and Glow fireplace. Heat and Glow's direct vent gas fireplaces do not require a chimney. The airtight firebox exchanges outside combustion air and exhaust gases through a balanced flue system. These patented fireplaces are clean burning and energy efficient. For your existing fireplace, Heat and Glow offers gas logs and efficient gas or wood burning inserts. Heat and Glow, the smart choice. Available at...
How about some good news for a change? Well, 4 of the top 10 models in J.D. Power & Associates initial quality study are Toyotas. It gets better. It's year-end clearance at your Toyota dealers. So you can get a new Tercel best model in its price class for initial quality for a price even better than its already low price. Or how about another leader? The sporty Paseo, an exciting way to get an exciting deal. Come to your Toyota dealer and see all the good news. But hurry, good news travels fast.
Let's compare these 2 babies. The baby on the left has a beating heart. So does the baby on the right. The baby on the left has arms, legs, fingers, and toes. So does the baby on the right. The baby on the left can turn and jump and kick. So can the baby on the right. The difference is, the baby on the left was just born, and the baby on the right would very much like to be. Life. What a beautiful choice.
This is KSTP Channel 5, St. Paul, Minneapolis. Live from your 24-hour news channel, this is Eyewitness News.
A very secure jail, as long as you don't have the tools, to break out with.
That metal bar. And at the Morrison County Jail, those tools included bed sheets tied together. Late last night, 4 prisoners draped sheets from a prison window and used them to escape. Good evening. That's tonight's top story.
Now, 2 of the 4 inmates are back in custody, but the other 2 are still on the loose.
Yeah, now the jailbreak happened in Little Falls, as you can see from this map. That's in northwest of the Twin Cities, just north of St. Cloud.
Ross Kurgis joins us now live just outside the jail with the latest. Ross?
Well, Mike and Inga, there was a brand new jail built here in Little Falls about 2.5 years ago, and when they built it, they put in all the latest safety and security measures you can imagine. But 4 men figured out a way to escape from this jail last night, and 2 of those men are still on the loose.
The design was to prevent escapes. Even if they got the window broken, we're thinking that they aren't going to get out through that opening, or at least not very easily, so it should be able to be detected. It wasn't.
With a piece of metal from the inmates' weight room, 4 prisoners somehow managed to pry open the interior and exterior windows of their second-floor cell. But to escape, they had to squeeze through an opening just 8 inches wide. Then they used bed sheets they had tied together to shimmy down the wall and run away. Jail Task Force member Leanne Doucette lives across the street and didn't hear a thing.
I just saw 4 sheets tied together in very big knots, and the bottom of the sheet was hanging right at the bottom of the window of the sheriff's office. So had Paul Cheetah been in his office, he might have even noticed it before anybody. 2 of the inmates allegedly stole a truck from this Little Falls business and headed south to St. Cloud, where they were quickly recaptured.
We had gotten an address of an individual who may be an acquaintance of one of the individuals in St. Cloud, gave that address to St. Cloud PD. They checked the residence and found Abrego and Mahalski.
But Jeremy Peary and federal inmate Richard Holland are believed to be in the Fargo, North Dakota area, where a car was stolen early today near Holland's brother's house. Neither is considered dangerous, but both are smart enough to break out of a jail once thought inescapable.
These individuals are in here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to dream up ways to get out. It seems like every place has an Achilles heel, and, well, we found ours here, I guess.
Those 2 men still on the loose tonight, once again, are not considered dangerous, so there's no reason for alarm. One was being held on burglary charges, the other on possession of marijuana. But police ask, if you do spot the men you just saw in our story, please call your local law enforcement agency.
Ross, I'm curious, with the window open there, how come more folks didn't try to escape?
Well, only 6 inmates really had access to that window, and 2 inmates, believe it or not, in that jail cell elected not to try and escape. The jailer caught on to what was happening very quickly, closed the window so no one else got a chance to climb through that small opening in the window.
I was going to say only 8 inches. Probably some people couldn't fit out the window. Yeah.
Incredible feat.
Shush. Thanks, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. Other news tonight, 3 men have been indicted in a drugs-for-profit scheme involving the Mayo Clinic. A former pharmacist at the Mayo's St. Mary's Hospital is accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars in drugs from the hospital. Then he and 2 others allegedly diverted the medicine to retail drugstores in Wisconsin. Officials at the Mayo Clinic say they fired the pharmacist as soon as they learned of the thefts.
A 23-year-old Minneapolis man is dead tonight, the result of an argument. It happened at 734 30th Avenue North about 1:30 this morning. Police say Michael Robertson was fighting with a woman when her son, Tony Miller, stepped in. Robertson was shot in the abdomen. Miller turned himself into police. Robertson died at North Memorial Medical Center about 4 o'clock this morning.
A hit-and-run driver killed a Chisago City woman this weekend. The crash happened yesterday when a car rear-ended her vehicle near North Branch. 25-year-old Jody Lynn Carlson lost control and skidded into a ditch. The car that hit her sped away. Carlson was pronounced dead at the scene. A passenger in the car remains hospitalized. Now, authorities did later arrest a suspect in Isanti County and expect formal charges to be filed tomorrow.
12-year-old Granite Falls girl is hospitalized with serious head injuries tonight after falling from the back of a moving pickup truck. Now, the accident happened yesterday on Highway 274 just south of Granite Falls. Michelle Marthaler was flown to North Memorial Medical Center in Robbinsdale, where she continues to receive treatment. By the way, it is legal for children to ride in the back of a pickup truck.
A memorial service this afternoon for a Minnesotan who changed the course of history.
Yeah, Stephen Endean was a pioneer in the gay and lesbian community. This afternoon, pews of All God's Children Metropolitan Community Church were filled as friends, colleagues, and several politicians remembered Endean. Speaking at the service, U.S. Representative Barney Frank and Minnesota Attorney General Skip Humphrey. Endean died August 4th at the age of 44. He had AIDS. Now, Stephen Endean founded the nation's largest gay and lesbian political organization, the Human Rights Campaign Fund. Endean grew up in Bloomington and dedicated his life to the fight for homosexual equality.
Steve was to the gay and lesbian rights movement what Hubert Humphrey was to the DFL party.
In the early 70s, Stephen Endean organized a successful campaign to include protection for gays and lesbians in the Minneapolis Human Rights Ordinance. Writer Bob Meek says Endean worked to eliminate discrimination based on sexual preference.
When he started that back in 1971 and 72, that was not what the world believed. And literally, he changed the world. The movement was coming together when people like Walter Mondale and others would start coming and speaking at the fundraisers.
Meek is currently transforming Endean's 300-page manuscript into a book titled Into the Mainstream. The book will give a first-person account of the rise of the gay and lesbian political movement.
Steve just brought the gay lesbian rights movement into the mainstream and into mainstream politics in a way that it never had before.
State Senator Alan Speer co-authored Minnesota's gay and lesbian rights law. He credits Endean with laying the groundwork nearly 20 years ago.
He believed that the way you got change was by working from within the system rather than by standing on the outside and shouting.
Although Endean is now gone, his work will certainly live on.
I know he wanted to continue this whole idea of mainstreaming gay and lesbian people and bringing together minorities and having a kind of a wider coalition.
And coming up tonight at 10, you'll hear more about the memorial service and about the life of Stephen Endean.
Well, moving on now to what's on the minds of many Minnesotans, the border battle with our cheesehead friends today.
That's right. The Vikings-Packers game took place at the Dome today. Ed Cairo joins us a little early from the sports office with an update. Ed, in all honesty, the most exciting last 2 minutes of a game I think I've ever seen.
Ed, can you hear us?
Ed.
Oh, it really was. And, I'm sitting over here seeing something else. And it was one of those last-minute things that we have come to see from a guy that we used to see it from a lot when he played with Chicago. That was Jim McMahon. And he did things that, well, they kind of looked like this. It got down to the last few minutes, the Vikings trailing 13-12 in the final seconds. They were faced with a third down when Jimmy Mack heaved a long pass to wide-open Eric Gulliford. The play covered 45 yards to the Green Bay 5-yard line, and that set up Claude Rivez for his 5th field goal of the day. The Vikings beating the Pack 15-13 to raise the Minnesota record to 2-1. And coming up later in sports, we'll have more highlights of that very exciting game, and we'll get to the locker room to talk to the players about it.
And maybe some highlights of that other thing that you were watching there, too.
Oh, yes.
It looks interesting. Thanks, Ed.
Well, we have a lot more to tell you about on Eyewitness News. In just a moment, it's goodbye to Arizona's biosphere.
Yeah, you'll hear from the 8 crew members who finished the 2-year project in environmental self-sufficiency.
And it was a blustery day for everybody within earshot. A fall-flavored AccuWeather 5 forecast is on the way. can't tell you how thrilled I am
We
to
are.
tell you that my son, Jimmy Burns, invented...
And my son, Gary.
Invented the bagel crisp.
Real bagels, thin sliced, seasoned,
Baked twice. My Jimmy's idea.
Because my Gary wanted that crunched in flavor.
Look for the original bagel crisp at your supermarket deli.
The great big crunch.
In the little brown bag. Only from Burns and Ricker.
The bag was our idea.
It's like clockwork. I pack the food, Rex navigates, Jeff forgets his medication. So, like most years, we'll drop by the Walgreens in Keene, New Hampshire, where we're regular customers, despite living 3 states away. With over 1,800 satellite-linked pharmacies nationwide, Jeff's prescription is always nearby. And that's good to know, because we all forget things now and then. Some people are just a little more consistent.
It's going on now. The biggest, the best money savings event of the year.
It's your Subaru dealer's silver anniversary celebration.
Every Legacy,
including wagons,
on sale.
Every Subaru Impreza,
Every Subaru Justice,
every SVX,
every Subaru is up for grabs.
During our silver anniversary celebration, you'll save up to $3,000 on select Legacy L's, including wagons.
Subaru, the best-selling import wagon 11 years straight.
Special announcement.
You can lease Legacy L for 36 months for only $199 a month.
Hurry.
Don't wait.
And don't delay.
Get to your Subaru dealer's silver anniversary celebration today.
First Chiropractic, for relief of painful job injuries.
My back has hurt for years. Finally, the pain got so bad I couldn't work. The boxes didn't weigh very much. It's just that there were so many of them. Well, the doctors from First Chiropractic showed me what I was doing wrong. Now I'm back to work, my boss is happy, and my First Chiropractic doctor is giving classes on how to avoid back injury.
First Chiropractic, the injury doctors. Call us first, 24 hours a day.
Well, researchers called it a science experiment, but skeptics say it was nothing but a Hollywood media event.
Either way, 2 years after 8 people entered the glass dome of Biosphere 2, they made their re-entry today into life on the outside. Steve Bodney joins us live from outside that self-contained environment in the desert with an update. Steve.
Mike and Inge, you're right. We are out here in the desert. You can see the sun out here. It's nice and warm. While everyone has waited for this day for 2 years for the Biosphereans to come out, it was also the day the rest of us waited to take a look inside of this glass world that they called home.
It's where we produce most of our fruit, from bananas to papayas to guavas to pineapples.
Biospherian Abigail Alling led the tour back into her former home to show our world, her world.
We chose pygmy animals. These are African pygmy goats.
From the pens of the animals who went along on this journey to the 900,000-gallon windswept ocean.
You can see the reef coral heads right here.
5 different ecosystems were cared for, with each playing an important role.
Of course, rainforests, that's what we know. They're critical in terms of their biomass to our atmosphere. And likewise in Biosphere 2, so is this biome essential to the health and maintenance of our little atmosphere world.
While the natural areas of Biosphere 2 are the most visible, the man-made maze of pipes and computers is the key to the project's claimed successes.
Okay, this is our kitchen.
But the tour seemed most interested in Biospherian food, such as what to do with all these bananas.
We had milkshakes, ice cream, sweet porridge, sweet fruit and yogurt.
And the Biospherians did admit that food fantasies were part of life behind the glass.
By watching movies, one had difficulty following the plot because if any food appeared in that movie, one was absolutely glued to figuring out what they were eating.
All 8 Biospherians say the next couple days will be spent catching up on Earth food. Now, I know I'd be looking for a Snickers machine if I were just coming out of there. Mike and Inga, some of the Biospherians said that they enjoyed their 2,000 calorie a day diet, no junk food, and that they thought they would stay on that diet even out here in Biosphere 1.
Steve, I'm curious, beside food, what else do they say they missed the most?
Well, as you can imagine, friends and family, even though they had satellite communication and telephones, of course, they do miss that contact. Mark Nelson, one of the Biospherians, said his best part of some days when people would come up to the glass and he could talk to them and just feel that energy. He did say today the energy was much better out here on the outside.
Okay, thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Well, back here in the Twin Cities, almost a month into the school year, all is not well between the Wayzata teachers and their school district. They've been in contract negotiations since June, but so far they haven't reached an agreement. So tomorrow, the teachers union is expected to file an intent to strike notice. The 400 teachers then have to wait at least 10 days to strike. If they do, 7,600 students would be affected.
Well, the Powerball jackpot will hit $6 million on Wednesday since nobody won the big prize last night. 3 Minnesota players got the first 5 numbers right, 1, 2, 8, 16, 23, but they all missed the Powerball number of 9. Although they missed the $4 million jackpot, they will collect a cool 100 grand. I would love a cool 100
That would
grand
be nice.
right now, yeah. Well, it started out kind of stormy, kind of this morning, but then it cleared off a little bit.
Still a really cool day compared to yesterday. Best suited to sit in by the fire, maybe watch a little football. Let's take a live look at our tower cam here. You can still see skies a little bit overcast. Just a moment, Chris Grote will be in with his AccuWeather forecast.
Choosing the right heating and cooling dealer used to be a real guessing game.
Furnace guy.
But now, with Lennox quality dealer standards, Lennox products and dealers are an unbeatable team.
Since 1949, Vogt Heating and Air Conditioning has served the metropolitan area.
Call us today for quality service and installation.
Quality, reliability, value. That's the Sylvander Heating difference.
Call us for the best in service and installation.
Buy a qualifying Lennox system now and get a free color TV.
Don't miss the 94 Cats. See your dealer now before the new Arctic Cat snowmobiles and the fall deals are gone.
Are you hungry? Really hungry? Then head to Bonanza, where for a limited time you can get a boatload of our all-you-can-eat crispy golden fried shrimp with a piping hot potato and all-you-can-eat soup, salads, breads, and desserts for one low price of $6.99.
When there's a meal at stake, it's Bonanza, 'cause we know what you're looking for.
The all-you-can-eat shrimp dinner, just $6.99 at Bonanza.
Vision World customers talk about why they go to Vision World.
I went to Benson Optical, I went to Pearl Vision, I went to Lens Crafters, and I went to Walmart. And for the frames that I have, that I chose, Vision World had by far the best value.
I found Vision World's prices to be about 25% lower in cost than Lens Crafters for the pair that I was looking for.
Vision World, Minnesota's locally owned optical company.
Not really much to say about today, except I missed yesterday.
Yeah. It's fall. It's fall in Minnesota.
It's fall.
This is the time of year I start to look at the overall weather patterns to see if I can get any hints of what this winter is going to look like.
Uh-oh.
Not happy about what I'm seeing. So. Reinforcing shots of cold air, one after another, will be moving in. The real coldest of the cold in this little series that we're going to see is going to show up Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We could see our first frost then.
Yikes.
Not until then. Too many clouds around overnight tonight. Clouds act like a blanket. Keep us warm. I'm talking warm when you step outside and you know it's cold, right? Temperatures are in the 40s over the northern half of the state. Still in the Twin Cities, lower 50s. Another gaze at tower cam, please. 3,600 feet. That's how high the bottom of those clouds are. Not a whole lot of rain fell today, early this morning, before 8 o'clock. A few showers moved through the Twin Cities. Perhaps a few of you folks in western Wisconsin heard a little rumble of thunder. Yeah, a little shower. Let's check the radar now. Spritzes, sprinkles from Taylor's Falls down through about Bayport, Woodbury, back over into Scott County. That would be Chaska right about there, Bloomington there. These showers are moving southward, and more showers from Mora down through about Cambridge and Buffalo. They're all drifting southward. A couple of sprinkles, that's about it. Not a whole lot of rain. They probably won't even be able to measure it should it fall at the airport in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Kind of a chilly day. 51 outside. The high today was 58. 61% relative humidity. A raw northwesterly wind still gusting to about 30 miles an hour at times. Those winds will diminish a little bit. Northwesterly winds at 18, 51. I should almost talk about wind chill. I'll spare you. Outside in Minneapolis and St. Paul this afternoon, it hit 58. 47 was the morning low. 0.11 of an inch of rain early this morning. 87 and 27 are the records, and sunrise and sunset times, about 12 hours a day and 12 hours of night. Change of seasons, right? Here's satellite pictures. Cold air pushing in from the north here. Here's a little pool of chilly stuff in the upper air. Where it's white, that's where you start to see a little more rainfall, since we're under the gray, just low gray clouds and a couple of sprinkles there. The clearing line over the eastern Dakotas. Western Minnesota should see some clearing overnight tonight. I think the clouds are going to be pretty stubborn around here. High temperatures tomorrow under the clouds are going to be cool. 40s over the Arrowhead here, 50s over much of Minnesota. Warm air on the southwestern horizon, but our source for air is going to be over Canada, so that's going to be shunted southward by chilly stuff for the midweek. The AccuWeather 5 forecast, tonight, 40 with a cold wind. Winds gusting to 25, those will taper off towards your Monday morning. And looking at morning, basically gray outside, 42. On Monday afternoon, lots of clouds, a little bit of sun if we're lucky, about 58. The average high is about 64, 66, so a little cool. And looking ahead to Tuesday, a mix of clouds and sun, 56. Here's the week in a row. I do have a touch of concern about some frost. You might have to plan ahead about that. That would be Thursday morning at the earliest, all right? I guess we can't emphasize that enough. Not until about Thursday, and the timing would have to be just perfect. But it's getting to be that time of year.
You said wind chill.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that
Can you
in
believe
6
that?
months.
So, you know, sometimes your brain starts shifting into winter-type speak, so I'll be saying
Whatever happened to that
sleet
humidity
and snizzle.
factor, that warm stuff?
I'll try, Drew.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Should the superintendent of a school for the deaf be deaf? Students at one Minnesota school say yes, and they're demanding changes. We'll have the story at 10. Also, you'll meet a man who survived not one tumble down Niagara Falls, but 2. The obvious question, how? Those stories and much more right after the ABC movie, Whose Baby Is This? The War for Baby Jessica.
The other obvious question would be, why?
Why?
Well, coming up next in sports, the Twins play their final road game of the year. That's in Boston against the Sox.
Plus, here at home, the Vikes use a little of that old McMahon magic to beat the Packers. Ed Cairo is in next for Eric Gislason.
Winter belongs to those who don't wait. So get to your Polaris dealer fast to get the best deal of the year. Take delivery from dealer stock of a new Polaris by September 30th and get $300 worth of Polaris winterwear and accessories absolutely free. Hurry, don't wait. This offer is good only through September 30th at your local participating Polaris snowmobile dealer.
Nobody climbs, nobody shines, nobody cares like Polaris. Believe it.
You know, I'm an old-fashioned guy. I believe in giving people more for their money. So not only is everything on Wendy's Super Value menu 99 cents each, but on our Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, you get 2 full strips of bacon. Our Biggie Fries are big, like our baked potato. Plus, Wendy's Hamburger Kids Meal with a toy is just $1.99. At Wendy's, you don't pay more, you just get more. Every day. And that's the truth.
The 9 for $9.99 Super Value Menu and $1.99 Hamburger Kids Meal at Wendy's.
When my friends dared me to join, I had my doubts. But now I've met someone really special.
Sensational results.
My company transferred me. I was new in town, and Sensational Results introduced me to a lot of new people.
Sensational results.
I wasn't meeting quality men, but now through Sensational Results, I meet lots of people.
Call Sensational Results, Professional Introduction Services, 927-9070. It's our name and our guarantee.
Remember your first project? Knox knows that feeling. Like the first time you hammered a nail in, straight. The smell of fresh-cut wood. The thickness of pure white paint. It all starts at Knox, where we've been helping you with your projects for over 60 years. With quality products and low prices. From people who know what they sell. When your next project rolls around, it's Knox. We work to make your job easier.
Pack attack. Absolutely. Go back! Go back! Go back! Packers suck! Let's go Pack!
The verbal and the nonverbal fans come together for a border battle at the Dome. And, of course, every time the Vikes and the Packers get together, you can bet there's going to be a lot of verbal volleys going back and forth.
They're great fans. They're very loud. You got to admire them for that. But it's just so fun when we can...
And the cheese on their heads, that's the best part.
Jim McMahon said in his post-game news conference he was surprised that the Packer fans were almost as loud as the Viking fans in there today. And they had something to yell about. The Vikings did dodge a Green Bay bullet. They threw up a 1990s version of a Hail Mary at the Metrodome today and beat the Packers 15-13. It wasn't pretty. Vikings quarterback Jim McMahon admitted he was off his game. Several times he scrambled away from trouble when he was unable to throw effectively. Occasionally the passes worked. The new Vikings offensive scheme clicked here. McMahon hooking up with rookie receiver Kadre Ishmael on this 30-yarder for a big third-quarter first down. That play led to a 51-yard Faudrevez field goal that gave Minnesota a 12-10 lead, but that didn't last. It was a 5-field goal day. Green Bay kicked another and led it 13-12, but Minnesota stayed in it. Todd Scott with one of 3 Minnesota interceptions this afternoon. It was this kind of play from the defense all day that kept the Vikes alive. The Vikings did get the ball back. They started a last-minute drive from their own 17. 6 seconds left. McMahon unwinds a 45-yard Hail Mary to Eric Dulliford to set up the win. Revez was in position to do it, and with 4 seconds left, he kicked this 22-yarder to give the Vikings their 15-13 win. Dennis Green said it was a team effort. McMahon said that overall it was the big statistic that counted.
The defense was good. When they had to stop them 3 straight times, they did it, and gave or 2 straight times they gave our offense the ball, gave our special teams the ball with a chance to get back in the ball game.
This is a real big win because it was a division game again, and it's a lot better being 2-1 at this point and beating two teams in your division than it is being 1-2.
Next up for the Vikings, a trip to San Francisco for a meeting with the 49ers. Elsewhere in the NFC Central, the Detroit Lions kept their half-game lead on the Vikes with a win over Phoenix today. Andre Ware started at quarterback in place of Rodney Peete, and he moved the Lions' offense. He connected with Brent Perriman for this 9-yard touchdown. The Lions moved to 3-1 with a 26-20 win over the Cardinals. The bye week helped the struggling Bears offense. Today, Jim Harbaugh threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for another. One of his tosses was to rookie tight end Ryan Wetnight. The Bears explode against Tampa Bay 47-17 to give head coach Dave Wanstead his first win. The Buffalo Bills were booted by Miami today, but they had the kick of the day. Steve Christie nails the field goal from 59 yards, the 4th longest field goal in NFL history. But the Dolphins beat the Bills 22-13. Elsewhere in Week 4, San Francisco trailing New Orleans 13-10 in the 4th. The Rams over Houston 28-13. Indianapolis 23-10 over Cleveland. Cincinnati leading Seattle 10-9 in the 4th. Well, in baseball, the Twins played their last road game of the year today in Boston, and they're coming home with a 2-game winning streak from Fenway. The Twins beat the Red Sox today behind some great defense. Watch Chuck Knobloch on this play. Tosses to Jeff Revelay using his glove. That starts the double. The Twins beat Boston 5-2. Mark Trombley got the win. Looking at the contenders, the Chicago White Sox are the only looking to sweep Texas today in a doubleheader, but that sweep would have to include the American League West pennant. In the first game, Ellis Burks doubled off the wall in left field to score 2 runs, and that helped Chicago beat Texas 5-3. The White Sox magic number is now down to 1. Well, the prestigious Ryder Cup of golf is staying put in the United States. The U.S. has defeated 51-year-old Ray Floyd, can still play this game. He almost matched Faldo on the same hole with this shot, but the ball will hit the stake, bounce out. But again, the U.S. wins the Ryder Cup 15-13 over Europe. Boy, is that riveting stuff.
It is.
0-1. Thanks,
Ed. And that's going to do it for this edition of Eyewitness News. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, we'll see you again tonight at 10 o'clock. Have a good evening.